Coming up on this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we introduce you to a music center in North Falmouth that offers opportunities for all ages. Visit a radio shack on Joint Base Cape Cod to meet some of the operators with the Falmouth Amateur Radio Association. Learn about the new Falmouth Bikeways Committee plan and its exciting top priority. And we visit the Lawrence School to see how they're combining poetry and engineering with a unique project at the school. All this and much more on this episode of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus. I'm Liz Lerner, the Membership and Outreach Coordinator at FCTV. This episode will start with how the town honored a hero. Hillsborough County, Florida Sheriff's Deputy John Robert Kotfila Jr. died in a tragic crash in Florida and was laid to rest in his hometown of Falmouth last week, and the town and many others from around the state and country came out to pay their respects.
Again, it's a very solemn day, and this is going to be a culmination of actually a couple of weeks, and hopefully we can bring some peace to the family and to the rest of the law enforcement community today, and really pay tribute to a true hero. The turnout is absolutely amazing, and there's almost no words for it. You know, from last night, walkthrough, to the number of officers that are here from all over the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It just the outpouring, as well as the citizens who have come out to pay their respects also.
Well, I think, as you can see by all the other departments that are in attendance here, it impacts, just as it did yesterday with Trooper Clark, that we're all vulnerable as we are in society, as we can see what happened in Brussels, but particularly what we can do in our community, law enforcement, come together, and we'll do the same for everybody else that's standing here today.
Thank you to FCTV's Alan Russell for bringing us that coverage. The Falmouth Prevention Partnership's Drug Collection Kiosk initiative, in collaboration with the Falmouth Police Department, is designed to raise awareness within the community and help drug prevention in our youth. FCTV's Bob Fenstermaker spoke to Gosnold of Cape Cod about this initiative and about a nationwide event that takes place at the end of the month.
The National Drug Take-Back Day is sponsored by the DEA to promote awareness for folks in the community to return their unused, unwanted, and expired prescription medications. All the local police departments on the Cape are participating this year on April 30th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. You can drop off all of your unused and unwanted medications at that time. It's also about bringing awareness to the kiosks that are located in all the Cape Police Departments, and they're there, as you said, year-round. They're permanently in the lobbies of all PDs, and they're accessible 24 hours a day. No need to fill out paperwork, no questions asked. You can bring in your unused medications anytime you'd like. But the National Drug Take-Back Days do bring awareness to the kiosks themselves. Well, part of the prevention initiative focuses on accessibility to prescription medications. We know that 70% of young people, or really anybody who tries prescription medication for the first time, actually acquires it from a friend or relative, most oftentimes in a medicine cabinet. So by encouraging people to clean out their medicine cabinets of unused and unwanted medications, it actually reduces the supply that's available on the streets and in people's homes.
More information can be found at gosnold.org and falmouthprevention.org. The Falmouth Bikeways Committee recently came out with a bike plan for the town that had unanimous support at a joint planning board selectmen meeting. Chairman of the committee, Scott Lindell, spoke with us about the plan's goals.
The bike plan is our condensation of many public meetings, and featured in it are a 24-point list of recommendations that can be broken down into engineering, education, and enforcement priorities for the town. And along with the plan is a whole suite of implementation steps to make the plan become reality. We have this beautiful, we're standing right here on the Shining Sea Bikeway. We have this beautiful resource that extends 10 miles and connects North Falmouth with Woods Hole, but we have nothing really that serves the whole eastern part of the town. So one of our top priorities is building a connection between the bike path, downtown, and a necklace of parks, including Goodwill Park, Trotting Park, and T-Ticket Park. Most of that would be off-road, and families with small kids would feel safe going between this wonderful linear park we have, the Shining Sea Bikeway, and our other parks in town.
Other big news from the plan is the hope for a bikeway that would connect North Falmouth to Bourne, which would then link to the Cape Cod Canal bike path.
That's our number one priority on our list, and frankly we haven't got a dollar figure against it because it's unlikely that Falmouth will spend much at all on that. It's only a half mile in Falmouth, but we believe that connectivity to Bourne and eventually to the Cape Cod Canal Bikeway, which will then connect to the Cape Cod Rail Trail through Sandwich and Hyannis, etc., would be a wonderful necklace of bikeways. So members of our committee are actively involved in helping the town of Bourne navigate that, along with the Cape Cod Commission, since we've had so much extensive experience here on our committee.
Scott believes that adopting many of the suggestions in the plan would make Falmouth an even greater place to visit and live.
We should strive to become what's certified as a bicycle-friendly community. There's no other town on Cape Cod that can boast that. And very simply by adopting a complete streets policy and by adopting this bike plan and by appointing somebody who's a bike pedestrian coordinator in town. It doesn't have to be a new employee, it could be an existing employee. We meet those three criteria, we could be ranked as a bike-friendly community, we could put that on placards coming into town, and I think it would be a huge tourist draw, even more so than we already have with the Shining Sea Bikeway, because it says something about how our roads are safer and how our community feels about making that a priority.
You can access the Bikeways Committee's plan at the town website, falmouthmass.us. Search Bikeways Committee and click on the Falmouth Bike Plan link. In an effort to keep our residents informed on happenings from Town Hall, FCTV Government Channel 15 has provided the following summary as a public service from recent government meetings. Here are 3 things you should know from Town Hall. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
Falmouth Water Superintendent Stephen Rafferty spoke to selectmen regarding the ongoing contamination of the town's water for residents of the Nobsco Road region.
When I came before you in December, for the total trihalogenated methane component, we went over the reportable limit at Nobsco Road. The reportable value was the average of the preceding 3 values plus the most current value. We did the first quarter sampling, and we once again are over the limit for the Nobsco Road location. That puts us into public notification as we did before.
Though the levels of contamination are above the recommended max level currently, the Water Department is not issuing a boil water order, but does recommend all residents in town water to use a carbon filtration device for all drinking water. The Falmouth Housing Trust requested that the Zoning Board of Appeals allow them to construct hard surface parking to accommodate for tenants at 1 Chancery Lane. The Oddfellows Hall reconstruction project aims to provide access for disabled tenants, including those in wheelchairs.
Can you state briefly, just for the record, how the reinforced turf surface is not accessible, just for the record?
Grass is not hard packed surface, so for code, and that's the Architectural Access Board, and I know Laura Moynihan sent a number of bylaws and quotes regarding accessibility, the town's bylaws, and actually how you achieve a hard packed surface for handicap accessibility. Grass, gravel, none of that is considered a hard packed, stable, and firm environment. And so asphalt is, concrete is.
The board voted 4-1 in favor of the Housing Trust's request, allowing the 4 requested parking spaces to be asphalt or concrete. Peter McConerty, Deputy Director of the DPW, gave recommendations to the selectmen regarding potential improvements to the town's compost facility.
I would just say that as I looked at each one of the recommendations, I see a reason for each one of those. And I also understand the fact that it's commercial dumping. And I don't think anything that is ever offered to any town or to anyone that has no cost isn't somewhere going to be used incorrectly. And I think that's the issue that you have. The other thing is the fact that you do not have someone to be there, up to this point.
The selectmen approved the recommendation, which will take effect on July 1st of this year.
To watch the full meeting, please view them on our Government Channel 15 on-demand page on our website. There's a lot going on around town this month, and we'd like to highlight 3 upcoming events. The John Wesley United Methodist Church is having a baby shower. The church has created a new Welcome Baby project where they are creating a Welcome Baby bag for every baby born at Falmouth Hospital, and they're inviting the community to attend their event on Saturday, April 2nd from 1 to 2:30. They're looking for a variety of donations for the bags, a list of which can be found on the church's website, johnwesleyumc.org. Woods Hole Theater Company will present Tales and Anecdotes for 2 nights on April 8th and 9th at 7:30 p.m. at the Community Hall in Woods Hole. 9 different storytellers will be sharing 9 different personal stories. You might recognize a few of the storytellers from FCTV, including one from this show, Troy Clarkson. More information can be found about the event at woodsholetheater.org. Spore Garden's always popular Daffodil Days are coming up on Saturday, April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thousands of daffodils will be in bloom, and there will be guided tours and activities for all ages. The gardens are located on 45 Fells Road in Falmouth. And we can't forget about us. Art quilts by Sue Colozzi, entitled City and Shore, A Quilter's Perspective, will be on display at the Mazer Gallery here at FCTV from April 3rd through April 28th. Sue specializes in landscape quilts and features different neighborhoods of Boston and towns on the Cape in this show. The public is invited to attend the opening reception Sunday, April 3rd from 3 to 5 p.m. Also, Falmouth Community Television will again be providing live coverage of Falmouth Town Meeting each night starting at 6:45 p.m. on Channel 15. This spring town meeting begins on Monday, April 4th, with the special town meeting commencing the following night on Tuesday, April 5th. Live streaming will also be available online. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with stories about music opportunities for everyone, a mission on Joint Base Cape Cod, and a look at a program that intertwines poetry and engineering right after this.
Hi, my name is Nicole from the Falmouth Village Association, and I'm here to tell you all about Falmouth Village Blooming. Falmouth Village Blooming will kick off on April 30th with our first ever Kids Day. At Kids Day, your little tots will be able to enjoy a Mother's Day craft provided by the Falmouth Art Center, story time in a book nook provided by 8 Cousins, a special springtime snack provided by Pies a la Mode, as well as face painting and bubble making. For more information, you can visit falmouthvillageassociation.com.
Welcome back. Last episode, we visited a yoga studio located at 75 County Road in North Falmouth, and today we're visiting their neighbor in the same building, Meryl's Music and Arts Center. It's a space that offers musical opportunities for the young, the old, and everything in between.
I've been running Music Together classes, which is an early childhood music and movement program for kids 0 to 5 and their adult caregivers for 14 years on the Cape. This location, which I love this space, has great energy. I've been here for probably close to 5 years now. We're getting close to 5 years. We believe that all children are musical and all children can gain basic music competence, which is being able to sing in key and hold a beat. And through the right musical atmosphere in early childhood, they can gain that basic music competence. So Music Together is a research-based program based on those tenets that incorporates all of this research into how children learn music. And it's a 45-minute class of what the kids think of as pure fun, but basically underlying it is all that research that helps them to be able to sing in key and hold a beat over time. The Music Together I also run a Rhythm Kids drumming class for kids 5 to 7, 5 to 8, which is sort of an extension of the Music Together program. Also continues to work on the rhythmic development of children. We also have, I also give ukulele lessons for kids about the same age, 5 to 10. And then 2 Wednesdays a month, we have kind of an open mic that goes on here. It's not electric. We don't have any because the acoustics in this room are fabulous. So people just come, and one of the nights at the end of the month they'll perform for each other. Everybody will sit and listen and watch, and then the other night is more of a song circle where everybody jams together. Somebody will start a song, and anybody who wants to join in can join in. I have a woman who uses my space. Her name is Donna Hammers, and she does a choir for kids, and she does a drumming and chanting class. She does a couple of different things, and she's just getting started.
Well, we meet here in this beautiful space at Meryl's Music and Arts in North Falmouth, and I teach songs and chants from all over the world, as well as ones that I've written myself. We start off very softly, and then we build the energy. I get people's voices warmed up and then teach some rhythms, and then sometimes it's free form, let just people jam. And then when we really build the energy, I teach them dances from different traditions and circles and line dances. And then I play some recorded music towards the end, and we can drum to it and sing to it or just dance around the room. And then we come back in a circle at the end and share. You know, really build community and really unite our hearts in song. Also looking for singers to do some choirs that I've put together over the years in different locations. And now that I'm back in Falmouth, I'm looking for singers for the Donna and the Dreamers, which is a children's chorus, a kids' chorus. We do all songs about dreams and diversity and ecology, and sing for the elders. And then I'm looking for people of all ages for the World Unity Choir, which is an intergenerational international choir that I started in Vermont. That's what's missing in this world is music. We don't make music together anymore. Everyone's so busy. In the olden days, everyone gathered around the piano and sang, or the tribes gathered around the drum. So I'm humbly trying to bring it back.
More information on Meryl's Music Together and Donna Hammer's classes can be found online. 2016 marks the 85th anniversary of the Falmouth Amateur Radio Association. One of several amateur radio groups on the Cape, this group meets at their radio shack on Joint Base Cape Cod several times a year. They invited us to their headquarters to get an inside look at just what goes on in the world of amateur radio.
This latest assignment felt a little like a top-secret mission. I wasn't allowed to film beyond this checkpoint until I arrived at my destination. That undisclosed location on Otis Air Force Base was this little shack. This is where a select group with specialized skills and licenses to prove it meet up.
Falmouth Amateur Radio Association is one of God knows how many radio clubs around the country, around the world. We're amateur radio operators licensed by the FCC to use certain segments of the radio spectrum. Amateurs have been doing it for 100 years or so. The Falmouth Club has been in existence since 1931. This is our 85th year. And we do it all. We serve the public. We've provided communications for the Falmouth Road Race, for example, for the Cape Cod Marathon. We do emergency exercises. We work with the local fire department, the hospital, police department to provide emergency communications if it's necessary, if they need it. And then we do this as a hobby. We contact other countries. We are ambassadors of goodwill and electronics and radio specialists.
The Falmouth Amateur Radio Association meets here formally on the base at what's known as their radio shack about 5 times a year, but any member of the group can come here anytime, any day of the week. While most operators have their own equipment at home, this shack offers a little something more.
The advantage about here is we have, through the club, people donating and the club spending some money, we have the higher-end equipment here so that people can come here, our members, licensed members, come here, use equipment they normally don't have access to.
And of course, it's not just any person off the street that's interested in this that can come in to use this equipment. There is licensure involved.
You have to be licensed. In order to use the amateur radio frequencies, you have to have a federal license. We're licensed by the FCC. So you study for your license, you pass the class, you pass the test, and then you have a piece of paper that says that you can get on the air. You get a call sign. The federal government gives you a call sign so that they can identify who you are and you can identify yourself on the air.
And if you think this is like big rig drivers going back and forth in their radios, you would be mistaken.
There's a lot of confusion out there that this is CB. It is not. We communicate. And the entry level is called technician, and that tends to be through local repeaters within 30, 50-mile range. Walkie-talkies, mobile radios in your vehicle, some access into the higher frequencies. Then you get into general class, which opens up the big window, which is DX, which is a long distance. So you get into further parts of the United States, as well as now Europe and, basically the world.
In short, the more access to bandwidth you want, the higher up in licensure you have to go, and the tests can be pretty difficult. Brent Putnam explains that the amateur radio experience is open to whatever the operators want to do with it.
It's different for everybody. The amateur radio has all sorts of different facets to it. Basically, it comes down to communications. We use a variety of means, whether we're bouncing signals off satellites, off the moon, off the atmosphere, to communicate with other amateurs in the country and around the world.
Reporting from the Amateur Radio Shack on Otis Air Force Base, Brian Sullivan for Falmouth in Focus.
Thank you to Brian for that piece. The Lawrence School students worked on a neat new project recently that integrated STEM and the written word. They call it Robotic Poetry.
So this is our Robotic Poetry event. Students in their English class were studying a poem, and they've dissected the meaning of the poem as illustrated through concrete images. They worked with Mrs. Hennessy on that, with Krista Hennessy. And then after working with Mrs. Hennessy, they came to engineering class and they designed a display that represents that meaning. And then the display has several robotic pieces that run the display. So they have at least 2 LEDs and a servo motor, so that we could add light and motion so that the display could show more than just something with still images. So they're representing that poem with the robotic display. So they had to learn programming for this as well. So they're working in a program called Scratch, where kids are organizing what they want the robot to do and when they want it to do it. This is the first time we've run this project, so it's definitely been a learning experience for everybody, the teachers and the students. But I'm proud of students for sticking with it and doing some good work through the project.
Oh, the poem we did was Fire and Ice by Robert Frost, and the poet, he describes like fire and he compares it to desire, and he does hate and he compares it to ice, and it doesn't really matter. Like, the meaning is, it doesn't matter if the world's ended by fire or ice, or if like humans are like ended by desire or hate. The outcome will always be the same. And at the end of the project, everything turns off, and I think that represents like the world ending. We asked the teacher like how much servo motors we can use. That's what's making the Earth spin, and she said 1. So we were gonna like make fire or ice spin, but we decided on like the Earth. And at the last second, we put like the money back for desire and the buoy for hate. And then like the LEDs, we had to use this tool to like push one of the push the things in. There's these things that we had to push in to plug in the wires so the LEDs would work. And then there's like wires. We put holes in the back for wires. One of them's the power source, and then another one's plugged into here. And then we made this on Scratch. And what it does, that's how all of this works.
Thank you to Educational Channel 14's Brian Weber for that piece. We're going to take one more quick break, but when we come back, Troy brings us his take on how the town came together to show support for our fallen hometown hero.
A library is an activity, like a parade, a game of Scrabble, a break from playing baseball, playing the bongos, crafting, reading and eating, and more eating, a presentation for a class, getting a temporary tattoo, an interview, playing, and traveling anywhere in the world. A library is a life form, like the birth of a reader, a tree that grows poems, or the alphabet, a biology lesson, a collection of artifacts, a rose in the computer room, or our local history. A library is a relationship with a special friend, with one's BFF, with a teacher, with classmates, with a dance partner, with a friendly ear, with members of a group, with a mentor, with a librarian who is full of information, with one's family, and with the community. An activity, a life form, a relationship, a library, where people access, share, create, and experience information. A place where minds and souls thrive. Your library, the Falmouth Public Library.
Welcome back. This episode, Troy talks to us about the passing of Hillsborough County, Florida Sheriff's Deputy John Robert Kotfila Jr. and how the community rallied together to show their respect and support to his loved ones.
Thanks, Liz. You know, I've said many times, it takes a name to make a town, but people to make a community. And these people here in this community rallied together like never before to honor one of their fallen, to honor an honorable Falmouth citizen who made the ultimate sacrifice and then came home to share that sacrifice, to share memories, and to share a very poignant few days with thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people. And it all happened right here.
So John was a student at Westfield State University. While he was there, he was a member of our student security unit, and I believe John graduated in 2008. John always had a great smile. That's how I remember him. A great kid.
Many of us have differing interpretations of the word sacrifice. Many of us have differing interpretations of the word honor. Sometimes, and in some cases though, people and events leave no question. Sometimes, and in some cases, honor and sacrifice are plainly and painfully evident. The life, career, and untimely death of Hillsborough County Deputy John Robert Kotfila Jr. is just such a case. He lived and served with honor. Each day he was prepared to offer the ultimate sacrifice, his life, in pursuit of the higher ideals and values of law enforcement, public safety, public service, civility, and ethics. On March 12th, Deputy Kotfila answered his last call to duty and in pursuit of honor, did indeed make that ultimate sacrifice. He died when his cruiser collided with a wrong-way driver on the Leroy-Selman Expressway in Tampa, Florida, where Deputy Kotfila was on duty. An eyewitness reported and believes that he selflessly and heroically sped in front of her and into the path of the oncoming wayward speeding vehicle to shield her from harm. He did just that, and in doing so, paid that ultimate price and made that ultimate sacrifice. Honor and sacrifice. No question of their meaning in this case. Honor and sacrifice. No question of their meaning with this man. So as the sun sets here on another beautiful Falmouth day, we have the opportunity, the honor really, to demonstrate how a community rallied together as the sun set on a beautiful Falmouth life. From every corner of the Commonwealth, people came here to this spot, to our community, to show their support for a life well lived, a life of honor. People from all corners of the Commonwealth came here because this is a community. This is our community. I'm Falmouth Enterprise columnist Troy Clarkson, and that is my take. Back to you, Liz.
Thank you, Troy. Our My Falmouth feature at the end of each show is an opportunity for residents and visitors to share with us their perspective and their view of life in town. Whether it's landscapes, events, or moments that have touched you, we'd like to feature them. Send us your photos via email to liz@fctv.org or use the hashtag MyFalmouth and Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. We're going to end the show with the sights and sounds along the Trunk River section of the Shining Sea Bikeway in Woods Hole. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.